All right, let's talk about something we all think about, body fat. But we're going to do it a little differently. For just a minute, I want you to forget everything you think you know. Forget the scale, forget the headlines. Because the real story of our fat is way more complex and honestly, a lot more fascinating than you might think.
Seriously, what's the first word that just popped into your head? For a lot of us, it's probably something negative, right? Something we're always trying to get rid of. But what if I told you that's only one tiny piece of a much, much bigger picture? Because, and this is the key, not all fat is the bad guy. In fact, some of it is absolutely critical for your survival.
So, let's dive right in with that idea. Some types of fat aren't just okay to have. Your body literally cannot function without them.
This right here is essential fat. And it's not the fat we can see. It's the fat that keeps the entire system running. I mean, it's woven into your brain, your nerves, your bone marrow. It's the cushion that protects your organs, it helps regulate hormones, and you absolutely need it to absorb certain vitamins. This is the fat you truly can't live without.
And get this, our needs are actually pretty different. For men, that healthy, essential baseline is somewhere around 2 to 5%. But for women, it's way higher. We're talking 10 to 13%. That's crucial for supporting hormonal balance and reproductive health. The biggest takeaway here? The goal of zero fat isn't just unrealistic, it's actually dangerous.
Okay, so if some fat is essential, what about all the rest of it? Well, let's meet the three main characters, the three types of fat cells that make up your body.
First up is white fat. This is the one we're all familiar with. The easiest way to think about it is like your body's energy pantry. It's where you store extra calories to use for fuel later on. It also plays a huge role in regulating hormones. Now, a little is totally necessary, but this is also the type that can cause problems when there's too much of it. Then we've got its polar opposite, brown fat. And if white fat is a pantry, think of this stuff as a furnace. Instead of storing energy, its main job is to burn calories like crazy to generate heat. We only have small amounts of it, mostly around the neck and shoulders, but wow, is it efficient at keeping us warm.
So the difference is really that simple. White fat stores energy, brown fat burns it. One is the pantry for later, the other is the furnace for right now. And understanding this is exactly why scientists are so incredibly interested in brown fat and what it could mean for our metabolic health.
And then there's this fascinating middle ground, beige fat. These guys are basically hybrid cells. They kind of hang out looking like white fat, but under certain conditions, like when you exercise or get cold, they can actually be prompted to start acting like brown fat and begin burning energy. This amazing adaptability is what makes them a super hot topic in research.
But it's not just about the type of fat we have. Where we store that fat is just as important for our health, maybe even more so. And that brings us to the difference between the fat we can see and the fat we can't.
Most of our body fat is what's called subcutaneous fat. This is the layer right under your skin. It's the stuff you can actually pinch. Its main jobs are providing insulation and storing that long-term energy. And in moderation, it's generally pretty harmless.
But the fat that poses the biggest threat to our health, well, it isn't the kind we can see or touch at all. It's the fat that's hidden deep inside.
This is visceral fat. It's stored deep inside your abdominal cavity, where it's literally wrapped around your most essential organs, your liver, your heart, your intestines. You can't see it, you can't pinch it, but having too much of it is a major, major health risk.
And the risks here are serious. Because it's so close to our organs, visceral fat doesn't just sit there. It's metabolically active, meaning it releases inflammatory substances and fatty acids right into your bloodstream. And that is why it's so strongly linked to things like heart disease, type 2 diabetes, and stroke. Bottom line, managing this hidden fat is one of the most important things you can do for your long-term health.
Okay, so now that we know the good, the bad, and the hidden, what can we actually do about it? Well, the good news is you have a lot more control than you might think.
So how do we get a handle on it? It is not about crash diets. It's about making sustainable changes that can specifically target that dangerous visceral fat. It really just boils down to three key areas: what you're eating, how you're moving on purpose, and how you move just throughout your day.
Let's make that more concrete. Focusing on things like protein and fiber,
helps keep you full and your blood sugar stable, which tells your body it doesn't need to store so much visceral fat. A combo of cardio and strength training is like a 1-2 punch. Cardio burns calories, and building muscle boosts your metabolism overall. And just staying active, walking, doing chores, it all adds up to prevent that excess fat storage in the first place.
So, the next time you think about body fat, I hope you'll see it a little differently. Not as this single enemy, but as this complex, dynamic system of pantries and furnaces, of cushions and hidden dangers. The real goal isn't just about losing weight. It's about shifting the balance in your own body from storage to strength. So with all that in mind, what's one small change you could make starting today?